hello, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Beyond the Plate RVA. I'm your host, Rebekah Pierce, and I'm so excited to be back with you in the new year 2024 with season 2, yay, of our show. And we have a fantastic guest with us today. I'm so excited to have her here. But before I introduce her, of course, let's give our house news information. This show is brought to you by RLP Productions. We are recording live at the Culture Mix Studios here in Richmond, Virginia. And again, I was inspired to do this show when I attended in 2023 the first annual Black Women in Food Summit in Washington, D.C. And prayerfully, they're going to have another one this year, and I'm going to be there too. So what we do here is we find phenomenal Black and brown women in the food, beverage, and spirits industry, and we bring them on the show to give them some love and support and to put them on their own platform to share what they do. And so I'm excited to bring to you today our first guest of 2024. We have with us the phenomenal chef, is it Ashley? Alyshia Toulson of the Pull-Up DMV.
Yes, thank you. Thank
hey,
you.
Welcome to the show. How are you, Alyshia?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming all the way from up north to be with us today. I appreciate it. And I want to get into your story because I met you on another networking group, and you were sharing your story of how you got into this business, and then you started talking about your food and my stomach started growling. I'm a little bitter that we can't have no food today, but I don't have a kitchen in the studio, but that's okay. But I want to know about you. So tell us what or who inspired your love for cooking?
Well, my inspiration comes from self. Also, just being in a small town from the area that I'm from. It wasn't very many jobs. I moved out here in 2017 from Maryland.
Okay.
And I just picked up what I know now as a trade.
Okay.
And basically, I started off in a small kitchen, helping out a small business restaurant. I basically learned the ins and outs of the job.
Right.
I actually branched out to go to another restaurant, which was a little bit more formal, and it taught me different types of dishes. And I just kept on learning different things that will help me in my culinary experience. A lot of people downgrade people because they don't go to culinary art school.
Right.
And no, I did not go to culinary art school.
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
It was just something that I learned, and I had a passion for it after growth into these restaurants, becoming kitchen managers, pretty much rounding my way throughout the kitchen, starting from small, which is a dishwasher, which most of us as chefs start with, learning, prep work, and then also learning into the techniques of cooking, different ways, because everything isn't based off of just doing it one way. It's several different ways. That's the art of being a chef, is basically learning skills that will allow you to freelance.
Right.
So that's basically how I got started. And being from the area that we're from, it's basically a seafood area.
Wait, tell us where you're from, because I know people are like, well, where is she from?
Well, it's about 45 to 50 minutes from Tappahannock, which most people know from Chris Brown. That's his hometown.
That's right.
So otherwise than that, nobody really can find us.
Darn you, Breezy.
But also, it's basically a more seafood harvest area. A lot of farmers, a lot of fishermen. And most of the restaurants there have some sort of seafood, also pasta dishes and different things of that nature. But the seafood came as my specialty because of the type of restaurants and entities that I basically worked at. And then learning the dishes, different ways to do things. A lot of people versus the best crab cake in the world from Maryland.
Right. And I just learned, oh my God, I'm so ashamed to say this, but I literally just learned that you have a real crab cake when you have real crab meat in it.
Yes. Yes.
I did not know that.
And a lot of people don't know that as well. You can mix it. It just depends on the person that's making it and how they make it to make it give it flavor. Right. And that's what makes it stand out different from most people. Like my dishes is, anybody can fry shrimp, anybody can fry oyster, but it's the flavor.
The flavor, and you say seasoning.
And seasonings.
Right.
You have to season
So,
it.
like, one of my favorite shows, I don't know if you've seen the first season, but the second season is out, and that's High on the Hog. And one of the things they really talked about heavily in season 2 was the hands that prepare the dish, and not just knowing how to season, but bringing the energy to the seasoning. How a chef can literally, their food can be set apart from anyone else. by the hand of the seasoning. Do you
Correct.
get that?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
So when did you know, when you were working in each of these facilities or these places, as you were gathering these skills, when did you know that this was going to be like your thing?
So COVID hit our area back in, I want to say 2020.
Yes.
2019, 2020. And basically I was working for a country yacht club at that time, and also part-time at another seafood restaurant. And basically they laid off the whole department.
Wow.
And I was a little starter kid at that time, just learning the salad station. And then I learned the hotline is what they call it, which is where all the hot food comes from. And I was actually able to pick up a lot of culinary art skills from an amazing chef who also owns his own restaurant now, Chef Patrick Walker.
Okay.
And it was just me and him. And I was actually very tickled that, when they laid off everybody, you had people that had been working there for years.
Yes.
And I had only been maybe a year or two in to that experience with them at that particular restaurant. And it was an honor to just be me and him. So I learned the one-on-one. He taught me a lot of different things, different ways to prepare things, how to do everything really.
So your experience is probably a little bit similar, if not very similar, to some of the women we've had on the show, where for Black women in particular, a lot of us didn't get to go to culinary school. Like, I learned how to bake from my mom and my grandma. And so for someone to see the gift in you or the desire in you and then want to show you how to do this the best way, I mean, that's almost like priceless. That's like almost better than going to a culinary school, because you're literally learning from people hands-on. In the military, we call it OJT, on the job training.
Yes.
Right? That this is how you do that. So is that something that you look forward to also doing for someone young one day? Or are you doing that now with your business?
Well, with my business right now, I do specialize in a few futures with different colleges. I have done speeches with colleges, and just letting everybody know, regardless of your situation and your background, of where you come from, if you want better, you can definitely make it better. And also with the on the job training. Yes, I would definitely love to give someone else my gift that I also received, but I think not right now.
Well, no, because you're still in the middle of it. But
correct.
But what I love is that for Black women in particular, like, we can turn anything into a successful business.
Yes.
And, when you talk about Black women in food, we know definitely food in America, the backbone of that has been Black and brown women. And so when you're in the kitchen doing your thing with your business, particularly because, like, your business is mobile, right?
Yes.
Pull Up is mobile.
Yes. Like,
do you sometimes think, my God, I'm just like following almost, just going to the next level for the women that have come before me, my ancestors, my foremothers, as we call them, when I'm doing this? I
would definitely say yes. My menu actually is dedicated to deceased family members who, I feel are important to me, which I take with me as inspiration. My top 3 sellers are the Carter Boat, which I no longer sell right now due to the summer, hitting. And it was a hit, but it was very, very long. It was a long process. So what you get with that is 3 jumbo shrimp.
Oh, Lord.
You get 3 oysters. You get 2 crab balls, which is basically a crab cake. I break it up in 4 pieces, but I only give you 2 on the Carter Boat. And then you also got a slab of fish. I do various fish. And I like red snapper. Also do mahi-mahi from time to time.
I love some mahi-mahi.
Yes. Also, a few different types of fish, really.
Right.
And then you got a side of coleslaw and 3 hush puppies. And it was only $24. And then I have something called the Andrea's Favorite, which is a dedication to my mom, because her name is Andrea.
Oh, I love
and she loves seafood. Also, growing up, we ate a lot of seafood in our family, so it was only right for me to add that to my menu and make it more personal. And then with that, you can get either 6 shrimp with a side. The sides are sweet potato puffs.
Oh, Lord.
Or you can get regular fries with Old Bay.
You said my thing, sweet potatoes. Right there.
And I put a lot of stuff on the menu that are more of what I eat as well. But also for people that's in that area that love seafood, it's also, a hit for them as well.
Right.
And then I have something called the Whack 'em and Stack 'em, which is a sandwich.
Whack 'em and stack 'em.
Yes. So you can get crab cake, you can get oysters, you can get the fish, or you could get the shrimp on a sandwich.
Ooh.
Also did a crab on crab, which is a mini crab cake and also a soft shell.
Oh wow!
And it comes with lettuce, tomato, and the sauce, which is what I make my own. So we call it our house seafood sauce, which a lot of people like. I'm actually in the process of even thinking about selling the sauce because a lot of people like
hold
it.
the phone. Y'all heard that here. Y'all heard that here. Okay, we're gonna claim that for 2024. That
Yes.
Not thinking about that's what you're gonna do because Spirit put it into you, and you're gonna honor it and do that. That would be phenomenal.
Yes.
That's what this show is all about. It's about encouraging and supporting women like us to go for it.
Yes.
I say go for it.
Yes.
I say absolutely go for it. So what is your favorite dish to prepare? What is your favorite thing about being a Black woman in food?
Well, I like to say the best thing about it is actually being the fact that I am mobile. I do get to see different areas, different types of people.
Right.
It's not just based off my home community, because anybody in the culinary art field or any job, doing a business itself, your hometown is not basically
Right.
your broad stop.
Absolutely.
You have to broaden your horizons in order for people to notice you and see you. You have to kind of
build your brand. To
Yes.
build your brand, you have to expand. Right.
Yes. And that's basically what I do, is I communicate with different people. Sometimes you never know who's out there,
That's
wherever
very
you
true.
go. And I get a lot of business from that because, people will call me personally and, want me to do business with them. So I feel like, in 2024, I'm definitely claiming it. I've had my falls. I've had my ups and downs. I've had great days. You know what I mean? So you have to take the good and the bad in order for you to be able to humble yourself and continue to go on, whether you have, like I said, good days or bad days. You have to take it all in and keep going. And like I said, I've only been in business since Labor Day of 2022. And it was a process getting my food trailer up and running and started, but it happened. And when it did, God took me in places that I never thought I would see in just a year.
Because you're mobile.
Yes.
I love that idea of a mobile seafood truck that is like bringing the taste of a neighborhood or a community, an area that we don't get to experience often.
Yes.
And really be able to plant our feet in it. I absolutely love that.
Yes.
So when you are hungry and are looking for something, like what's the dish that you make that comforts you, that you enjoy for you?
Well, I like it all. So sometimes I'll, make me a sandwich with a little bit of everything, which I've tried on my truck before too. And then, I just like a good crab cake.
Yes.
Me personally. Even when I go out to eat, with my friends or family.
I know that's hard.
I'm gonna get me a crab cake. And a lot of people are like, you work with seafood, why do you always want it? I just love crab. You know what I mean? Even if it's not a crab cake, crab of some sort.
Have you ever caught crab? Have you ever been crabbing?
Yes, I've been crabbing and I've been fishing. It's definitely an experience as well with that. If you go on a boat, you get more.
Oh, wow. I believe it.
But just sitting on the dock, just enjoying the time and then, waiting for them to hit your bait and you pull them up.
Wow. Well, I like fishing, but I don't like the bait part.
Yes. It can get a little nasty and
I don't like that part. I don't want that part. Just somebody put it on for me and then I'll throw it in the water. I can't do that part. One of my fondest childhood memories, my family is from New Jersey. Mm-hmm. And one of my fondest memories as a little girl was on my father's side, my grandfather loved to fish. Mm-hmm. And so they would go to the pier off of the pier in New Jersey, in Atlantic City. And I remember them pulling up fish and crab from the ocean and just being in awe of the fact that these things were, number one, huge, but number two, we would be able to take them home and eat them. And that was an admirable thing that I remember, how our people in particular can go out into nature and find a way to sustain and thrive.
Yes.
And so every time you put your hands in the seafood and you're preparing a dish, what's going through your mind?
Basically, let's get it. You know what I mean? Let's make these people happy. And I get a lot of good feedback. Not to say everybody in the world loves my food. Some people might complain. Some people
there's an audience
say
for
it's
everything.
okay.
Some people like what you do and some people will not get it.
Yes.
Right.
But for the most part, people just love the flavor. Like I said, it's the seasonings that you use. I use a wet batter and then I use a dry batter. So that's what the flavor is for me in the seafood. I just got to make sure that I don't over season it because it gets a little salty.
It can, right? So tell us more about your brand, your service, about the Pull Up DMV. Like, what's your vision for the business in the next 2 to 3 years? Where do you see yourself going with it?
In 2 to 3 years, my plan is to basically move to a more black owned business orientation kind of scenery, and that's Atlanta.
Oh wow.
Because I feel like I've done the DMV is good. It's just the cost of living is just so high.
It's ridiculous.
And then in Virginia, I feel like I'm gonna give myself a few more years to be out here to do what I do. But my goal is to go to Atlanta and do a brick and mortar. And also take my little trailer with me while I go. Until I get started to be able to do that. But I'm definitely after this year, a lot of my personal things will be taken care of and things will be paid off, and I will be able to do that.
Wow. So you want a brick and mortar in Atlanta?
Yes.
So how do you plan to, Atlanta's huge.
Yes.
So how do you, I know you probably already have it in your head, but how do you plan to bust on the seafood scene to make your business stand out from all the other seafood places that are in that area?
So basically, I plan to do a couple visits, not one or two, but a couple visits to different areas out there just to see, and then also get some sort of connection going on to see exactly what Atlanta needs from Virginia. You know what I mean?
So if you are listening and you are in the Atlanta area, they need to hit you up.
Yes.
And we're going to get all the social media for them because that's important, because Atlanta is a huge market. It's a huge opportunity if you do it right, right? So we want to make sure that you're putting it out there, and if you're in Atlanta and you're in the food business and you know what Atlanta needs, they definitely need to hit you up. We want to hit you up. Oh my goodness. So then what do you then need from your community here while you're here? What do you need from the community to help you be able to not only continue to have a successful business, but move to that next level?
Well, I would say support. Support is the biggest thing. You have some people who will support you behind the scene, and it's a lot of those because they're scared of who's looking to see that support. You know what I mean? And I find that big in my area because a lot of people think that you're in competition with them.
Oh my God.
Me personally, I don't find myself in competition with anybody. I find myself as a business owner doing my own thing, minding my own business, just doing what I can for me and mine.
Right. Well, there's a lot of one of the things they try to tell you in the world of business when you're first starting is that you need to look at who your competition is. And I think for Black and brown women, that's information that we don't even process.
Correct.
Because we're I'm in competition with myself.
Yes.
I'm challenging me. What can I do? But it's also important to keep an eye out for the others that are there and what they're doing. But I love your focus. You're just I know what I want to do and how I want to do it, and I'm focusing on that. I'm not really worried about who's watching me. But it is hard, though, to find the right people who can support that kind of mindset.
Correct.
Who are not worried about what everybody else is thinking.
Correct.
Should I support you publicly or whatnot? How do you manage that? I mean, the front-end people versus the back-end people.
Well, I don't really manage it. I just go to these places that book me. And like I said, you never know who's out there watching, and that's how I get my base, and I go for it, and I do what I'm supposed to do and just keep going. I promote myself. I don't get on social media saying I'm the best at anything because there's always somebody better than you.
Always.
I look at high end, more professional, bigger than anybody that I know of, type of chefs in the world that do a lot of social media. I look at a lot of food critics to see exactly what they're doing. You know what I mean? And hopefully someday I might be a food critic. You just never know.
Everybody's a critic.
But at the end of the day, I consider those uninvited opinions because of the fact that your opinion shouldn't base someone's lifestyle or the way that they do things to kind of harm them from getting financial support from what they need. And I feel like me being in the business that I have, I choose not to specify the amount of money that I have made, but I can definitely tell you I've been in six figures since I've been in business.
That's fantastic.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
However, the dollars ain't in my pocket.
Not girl.
You know what I mean?
I was about to say that because that's
absolutely not. So it's nothing to brag about. It's just a start of
it is though
what I look at when I have those down days and when I have those good days, and I look at that amount because you can't take opinions to the bank to cash them in. You know what I mean?
You can't. And you said you're booked, and so that's what's fascinating about what you do and how you do it. So you have a food truck, so you don't just And because this is probably what somebody's thinking. Oh, you don't just show up somewhere?
No, because a lot of people think because you have a food truck, you can go in and everywhere. That's not the case.
Tell the truth. Tell us the truth.
You have to have licenses in certain areas, places that you go. Like I go outside of my base area, so I have to have licenses for all the areas that I do go to. You have to pay taxes.
Absolutely.
And it's a lot of different things that goes on behind the scenes that a lot of people don't realize. Like a lot of people think you're an ice cream truck or something.
Oh my God.
That's not the case at all. If it was, we will all be successful.
Right.
We will all be able to do whatever. I started off, sitting in a park and sitting at different places waiting on people. You know what I mean? So now I don't do those things anymore because it's not worth my time, because it's not to say that, I'm going to make a certain amount. So I do bookings with, caterings or, people that, have employment that want me to come to their business and do lunches or schools or whatever it may be. So that's basically what I've been doing. A lot of breweries, a lot of wineries.
Oh, your food goes perfect with that.
Yes. And in in my area, that's a big hit for a lot of people because it's different and it stands out, a little bit more than certain people because it's not just your basic burger or your steak and cheese. Or even though I sell those items, not to say that anything's wrong with that, but it's not just your basic. You know what I mean?
So I did want to ask you. I mean, with your seafood, the specialty of that, are you very particular about where you get your seafood from, how you shop it?
Well, what I do with the seafood is I have a seafood vendor out in Hampton, and they do, I guess you want to say distributions throughout the area on certain days of the week. And then, you have your basic restaurant depot and you have your food line and your Walmart. So certain things I get, like bread and stuff like that, I'll get from the local grocery store. But as far as the seafood, I'm right in Reeville. So everybody knows Reeville has a lot of fishermen out there that sell you crabs, sell you fish, sell you oysters, whatever you want. So
I have a confession. I don't like oysters.
Really?
I'm a texture girl, and it's the texture. I'm just like,
is it the mushiness?
Yes. And I know there's a gentleman in New York who shucks oysters, and he's real big with this, with his cart on the corner and teaching people, Black people in particular, how not to be afraid of oysters. But I am a texture girl through and through, and I can't get past that texture.
You gotta try it.
I know. I'll think about it. But what's your advice for a young woman who might be listening to this who wants to work in this industry and wants to kind of do what you do? What's your advice for her in terms of how to get started, how to stay motivated? Because I'm going to also, want to know how you keep yourself motivated.
Well, self-motivation has never been an issue for me, especially when it comes to stuff that I want to do. I work day in, day out, for 2.5 years to get what I got going on. And that's just me saving money and, looking for, what I felt I wanted, which was that food trailer. And I'll tell anybody, regardless of your situation, whether you got the finances or not, just keep working, keep going, build goals, set those goals, achieve them, and keep going. Because, it's always a way.
Right.
Whether you can see it or not, it's always a way. I'll tell anybody, definitely keep the faith. God is your number one provider, and he's always going to have you as long as you believe in him and believe that, he has you. So definitely keep going. Try your hardest at everything that you're doing. If you need a little help, don't, feel like you're a failure because it didn't go through the way you wanted it to, because it's always a way. Alternatives, it's always ways to be able to help your small business, even if you start from the inside of your home, just to be able to build yourself.
Like you did, starting out on the park.
Yes. Right? So basically starting out, keep going. Keep the faith and, just keep doing your best. Do the best that you can. Try to, even challenge yourself to keep going.
That's the big thing. Definitely challenging yourself and stepping out of your comfort zone. Jumping anyway.
Yes.
Even when you're afraid, jump anyway. Because I know the business of food is a male-dominated, very sensitive, what's the term for it? It could be here one day and gone the next.
Yes.
Type industry.
Yes.
So then how do you have a very strong personality, but even strong people need people to lean on sometimes.
Yes.
So what's your daily mental health practice for keeping yourself up in that I can do this rum? What's your daily mindset practice?
Well, what I do every day is I have several different types of books that I read, and I look at a lot of different type of videos for inspiration. And I like, I guess you want to say, daily inspirations.
Yes.
I read those every day, and then also prayer. Prayer all throughout my day, because sometimes I don't have it. You know what I mean? I just don't.
That would be
and
today
in order for me to be able to do that, I have to pray and meditate on what it is that I'm trying to do, regardless if I see it for that day or don't see it. I have to keep looking forward.
I love that. So give us your social media. Your where can we find you? Where can people go to support you? How do we get your food?
So basically, my social media page is the Pull Up DMV, which stands for DC, Virginia, Maryland. Is basically the way I'm trying to move. It's on Instagram and Facebook. And then also I have Gmail, which is the pullupdmv@gmail.com. And phone number is also posted on those social media pages. So if you need anything as far as the catering, or you would like to book, definitely give us a call or send us out an email.
Man, this is so awesome. Thank you so much, Chef Toulson, for coming in today.
Thank you.
And chatting with us. And again, if you want to follow them on social media, it's the Pull Up DMV. Make sure you do that on Instagram and Facebook. And are you on TikTok?
Yes, I am on TikTok, but it's not on my. It's on my personal page. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you need to get a pull up TikTok. We need to be on TikTok, because the thing that's moving. I mean, and I know you probably don't. And it's good that you don't always go the way that everybody else is going. But again, if you're headed for Atlanta, a good way to get out there in the beginning is start doing these awesome little TikToks about your food.
Yes.
About your food truck. That'd be awesome. I can't wait to try your food. Thank you so much for coming in. Again, make sure you follow the Pull Up DMV, and of course for RLP Productions for Beyond the Plate RVA. We are also on Instagram at Beyond the Plate RVA TV show. Make sure you follow us on our podcast channels on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple, Google, you name it, we're there. And of course, our YouTube channel, RLP Productions, where you're watching this show or listening to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. We'll be back next time with another fantastic Black, brown woman in the food, beverage, and spirits industries. You guys have a great day. Bye.